Quiz. Okay, so let's look at what we are doing today. Okay, so what these are is they're linear equations. We've kind of talked about these before, but it was way back in the beginning of the year, and no one understood it, so that's why I did this. Okay, so today hopefully you have the skills in which you can understand this. Okay, so here's what a linear graph is. All right. A linear graph is something like this. Let's say if I buy, and I always say cable, okay, if I buy cable, okay, and I have, you have to get a receiver, you have to get a modem, usually it comes with internet as well. Let's say that first cost was $100, okay? So every one of these will have an initial starting point, okay? The initial starting point is, if you look back at what we did today, would be the B. Okay, so that's the initial starting point. Now, I know what's happening. Okay, so the initial starting point is the B. Now, from there, if you have a cable package, you're going to pay a certain amount of money per month. Okay, so maybe you pay 50 bucks a month. All right. Well, the next one would go up to 150. Okay, so we start at 100, and then our next point would be at 1 and 150, whereas this these would be months, okay, and then this here would be our money. Okay, so it goes from 100, and then it goes 1 to 150. And again, if you add on another 150, it would go to 2 months, and it would go to 150. I mean, if you add another 50, it would go to 2 months and then 200 total dollars. Okay, so that's what a linear graph is. Okay, so a linear graph is just a line, and that's what linear means, is line. Okay, so that is the very first thing you will be introduced to in any different math class when it comes to graphing, is lines. Okay, because why? Because they're the easiest, and they probably apply to the most things when you take a look at simple equations. All right, so if you have something like this equation right here, the first thing they teach you to do is to make a table in order to graph this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to look at this. We kind of talked about this before. This was the 4 value thing. I'll let you get away with 3 today. All right. The first value I usually want to plug in is 0, okay, and then I'm going to go from there. Now, I could plug a 1 in here, and that would be absolutely fine, okay, but since this is a half, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug in what numbers? Divisible by what? 2. Okay, divide 2, right? If you ever have 1/2 times something, remember, it is the same as saying divide by 2. Okay, so I'm going to put a 2 in. I'm also going to put a 4. And like I said, you can get away with 3 values today. But really with a line, how many values do you need to make a line? Or how many coordinates should I say? Okay, not 4, but what'd you say? 2. Okay, you actually only need 2 values to make a line. It's not like a triangle. A triangle, you need 3 coordinates, right? Okay, because you got to connect in 3 different spots to make a triangle. To make a line, you just need 2. Okay, so if I put a 0 in here, I put a 0 right here. 0 times a half is plus 1, it's 1. Okay, put a 2 in, divide by 2, you get a 1. 1 plus 1 is a 2. Okay, and then notice this is going up by 1, so this must be 3. And you would see that if you put the 4 into the x value. Okay, so the first step, the very first step, today anyway, is to make a table. Now it's okay, and the second step, I don't know why it's doing. The second step would be to make your graph. All right. So here's your graph. You just have to plug those values. Okay, so 0, 1 would be right here. All right. You got 2, 2, and then you got 4, 3.
So you're gonna make 3 for.
Okay. Today I would like you to make 3 points. Once you get those points, then you can draw.
Wait, no, what I'm saying is you got all 3 of that, all 3 of them things down. Like,
On the graph?
No, like the 2 graphs and then the table.
Yep. So you do a table, and then you put your line on the graph. Okay, so step 1 is to do the table, come up with 3 coordinates. Step 2 is to make the graph.
So we don't have to do the one on the far right there? You don't have to.
This was basically me telling you what a line was, okay, where they're getting it from, okay. So again, it's anything that has some sort of consistency with the rise and the run, which you'll learn about, I believe, next week, which is called slope. Okay, so this is how you graph linear equations. Okay, so let's go to the second one. This one here is a word problem, kind of like the cable situation we just talked about. It says Sue's hair is 3 inches long and grows at a 1/2 inch per month. It says the length L in inches of her hair can be modeled by the equation. All right, so this is anything that has 2 variables and some correlation. Okay, this is a function. All right, so we got length, which is L, and that length is dictated by M, which is months. Okay, so basically time dictates how long your hair is. Okay, kind of like my beard. All right, with hair. Thanks, Joe. All right, I needed that. And then if a guy was going bald, this might be negative, losing hair. Okay, so anyway, also me. Okay, but anyway, again, I'm not losing it; it's migrating to my back. Okay, you'll find out when you get older. You get that joy. All right. Okay. Anyway, it says use a graph to estimate how long it will take Sue to grow her hair to be a length of 5.5 inches. Okay, so thinking about what I just told you, when I go back to this right here, okay, that very first one, right there, okay, the initial value was 100. What would the initial value be on that equation? What do you guys think? What did it start out as? 3. Okay, so this one here, that is always the initial value. The plus or the minus, whatever it is, that's what it starts out as. Okay, so her hair starts out at 3 inches long. We want to know how many months it takes to hit 5.5 inches. Okay, now, just like we did those scatter plots, if they're, we know that these are always going to be positive values for Euler. Okay, we're not going to have negative months. We're not going to have negative hair. Okay, unless it's me. All right. But anyway, the reason I say that is because we want to just keep this, and we want to keep it to the first quadrant. Because everything in the first quadrant is always positive. Okay? So, we need to make a table of values. Now, L is going to be the Y value. Okay, so I put L over here, and I put M right here. Okay? We're going to kind of do the same thing we did with the 1/2 on the last one. We want to put a 0 in. We're going to put a 0 in, we're going to put a 2 in, and we're going to put a 4 in. And then we're going to see if that allows us to estimate when it's 5.5 inches. Okay? So, if I were to do this, I plug a 0 in right into the M. That cancels. So I get a +3. Alright? So you put a 2 in. Put a 2 in, 2 times 1/2, it's like dividing by 2, which is 1. Okay, +3 is 4. Alright? If I put a 4 in, 4 divided by 2 is 2, +3 is 5. Okay? Okay, what's up?
It's not a hard problem to do because everybody's hair grows at different rates.
This is assuming that someone's hair grows consistently. So that's actually a very good point. Yes, does hair growth vary? Absolutely. Okay, but this person we're saying is a consistent growth rate of 1/2. Okay, so it's growing 1/2 inch per month. All right, and in that case, if you ever have that situation, do you think every mathematical model, does it have to be aligned? Nope. Okay, the more variables you add in, if we accounted for the variability of that, the harder the equation is going to get that models it. They're out there, but they're just more difficult. You're in 8th grade. We're starting with lines, buddy. Okay, so we'll build on that, but that's what we start with. Okay, so that's a good question. 0, 3. Let's go ahead and let's graph this one. This is months, and this is hair. Whoops, hair length. paired length. And then we'll call this inches. Okay? Okay. So, months, we'll go ahead, we'll put a 0, 3 in. We'll go ahead and put the 2 in, the 2 and the 4. And then the 4 and the, let's see, 4, and then 5. Okay, so does that give us a good enough graph to estimate when this will hit 5.5 inches? What do you guys think? Okay, what do we think? How many months? 5. Okay, so once you get that far, it's pretty darn easy. So it would be 5 months. Okay, we could have kept going. We could have put another value in. And you can always do that if you can't figure this out. You could keep going. I could have put 6 in. I could have put 8 in if you want. And then you can look at that, and you could have estimated how far that would be. Another way to do this would actually have been to plug in 5.5 inches for the length, and then you could solve for that. Okay, but we're not there yet. We'll get there. All right. Questions on that? Okay, well, let's go ahead and finish this. Let's go ahead and graph these real quick, and then I have one left to talk about, and then we're done. Okay, so this one right here, if I have that situation, it's pretty darn easy. I would start, make a table of values, 2 steps. Let's go ahead, let's plug 0 in, let's plug 1 in, let's plug 2 in. This one's easy. 0 plus 6, 6. 1 plus 6, 7. 2 plus 6, 8. Okay? Once you get that in, go ahead, go to your graph. If that you make, you'll probably have some graphs for you on the worksheet. But it'd be 0, 6, 1, 2, 6, and then 1, 7, and 2, 8. Okay, there's your graph. Draw it in. Make sure if you do the line there, that it has arrows on both sides, because it can go either way. Now, something that I forgot to point out, on this one, I have arrows going both ways. On this one, notice how I just did a ray when I did this, okay? Why is that? Because, again, if I go over here, I have negative months, okay? So therefore, you don't need that. So that's why I put a dot here. That's at 0 months, and then it goes this way. And we assume that it would increase if we would not, the information given, if we don't cut it, it's going to increase until somebody cuts it. Okay, so that's why we put an arrow on it. All right. Last one. This one here, I need to go ahead and do the same thing. Make a table of values. We'll just use 0, 1, and 2 again. If I put a 0 in, 0 times negative 2, still 0, right? Okay, so minus 3, negative 3. Okay. Put a 1 in. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Okay. Minus 3, negative, negative, you add them. So therefore, this would be negative 5. Okay. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 minus 3. So again, we have a negative and a negative because subtraction means add the opposite. So we have negative 7. All right. Okay. So if I make this graph, I can do that relatively quickly. 0, negative 3, 1, 2, 3. And then 1 and negative 5. And then 2 and negative 7. Okay, so there is your graph. All right. Notice something about this one. Notice how we had a negative 2 to begin the problem. What does it do? Well, it goes downward, right? Okay, and that, again, we'll get into that in the next section. Okay? Is there any questions on how to do those two? All right, I have one left, and then we're done. All right, what if this happens? Okay, we have a negative 2. X equals negative 2, and it's a vertical line through negative 2, 0. All right, so how do you do that? Anytime you just have one letter and it's equal to a consistent number, okay, you would actually go to your graph, okay, and then I would make a line, and X is a vertical line. Okay, here's how I know that, because if I go to the X-axis, which is right here, I would go to negative 2, and I draw a vertical line through it. All right, now any value I choose on this line is going to be -2 for the x, and then whatever you have for the y. Let's say this was 1, 2, 3, 4. So then it'd be -4. Okay, what if I choose up here? Well, maybe that's -2 and 2. Okay, so any value on that line has to equal -2 for the x value. That's why it is a vertical line up and down. Okay, the y value, very similar. Well, on that one, we want it always to equal 4 for the y coordinate. Well, that would mean you'd have to go to the y-axis, 2, 3, and draw 1 through 4. Okay, again, what happens? Well, if I choose a value over here, let's just say we go 3 spots that way, that would be 3, and then 4 for the y value. Any value you choose over here, whatever it is for the x value, is fine. It's always going to be 4 for the y value. So really, it's just, I'll put an A in there because it can be anything. And then 4. All right, it's always going to be 4. That is why that is a horizontal line. Okay? Questions on that? Okay, so it's kind of a lot to take in the first day, to be honest with you.